Hello, good evening. It's Wednesday evening and it is 7:05 and it's time for Keto Confab. And I'm your host, Elizabeth Hanson, along with my husband, Scott, and who isn't at his computer at the moment. And this is a meeting for people who are wanting to live the keto lifestyle, according to Dr. Annette Bosworth. And we do consult other doctors and stuff, but with her mainly. And this week, we're just going to talk about what everybody wants to talk about. But since my husband and I um, took a break last week to go on vacation, I wanted to start with some things I learned or noticed or whatever while I was on vacation. And so we drove 9 hours from our home to the Black Hills of South Dakota, and we met some friends from Chicago area there, them and their daughter. And the first thing I want to say is I personally found it pretty easy to stay keto on our trip. And that was because we really didn't go out eating very much. And I had planned ahead for snacks on the road. And so if I felt munchy, I had things to munch that were keto along the way. Um, we stopped frequently to get out and walk and use the restroom and get more gas and everything. But I wasn't tempted because I had things to eat. There were interesting stuff. I did stop once and buy some boiled eggs, which is really great because most gas stations these days will have those packaged, boiled, already peeled eggs. And that's great because I usually eat about 4 eggs a day. And so having a couple of eggs as a snack is no big deal for me. And the other thing I found on the trip were these packages of cucumber and well, the pickled cucumber, and they're sliced pickles, and they don't have a lot of juice in them. Because I've gotten a pickle before in a package and it was just full of juice and it went everywhere, and I had to bite it off because it was a whole pickle. But this one was just the pickle chips, and there was nothing in there I couldn't have. It was just salt and vinegar and water, and I could have that. And it was a good snack, and they were good pickles. And you could get them with the jalapeno or the garlic and everything too, but I don't go for any of that. Um, so that was good. And then the one night we did go out to eat, we went to Olive Garden and in Rapid City. And Olive Garden doesn't have like a keto menu, but they have a gluten-free menu. And I definitely have to stay gluten-free. Uh, our friend's wife, she needs to stay gluten-free as well. So that was one reason we chose that restaurant. But Olive Garden was really good. They were happy to break down one of their meals. Um, One of their meals is shrimp and marinara sauce or Alfredo sauce, and then pasta. And they were willing to just give me the shrimp and the marinara sauce. And of course, discounted the price and everything, and that was good. And then I got one of their gluten-free soups that had potato chunks in it, and I just picked all the potato chunks out. Because I don't want to eat 50 carbs in a soup. That's just crazy. And then their house salad is good as far as carbs go. And I ate some of the black olives and the tomatoes, and I had one peppercino, which nearly choked me because it was just too much. And we just stayed away from the bread, because everything has bread. And Scott got a chicken salad, a grilled chicken salad. And it's nice to find a place that actually grills their chicken rather than breads it, you know, because so many places bread their chicken. And and you could get the dressing on the side if you wanted it on the side and everything. So I think we did pretty good at Olive Garden, going with what we did. And that's really the only time we ate out. The rest of the time, I would have bacon in the morning before we took off to go places, and would either take boiled eggs to eat or not have a lunch at all. And then when we came back to the cabin we were staying in, we would grill in the evening and I'd have pork. Oh, we did go to another restaurant. And I thought about you, Patricia, because it was a German restaurant. It was in Hill City, North Dakota. No, South
South Dakota.
Dakota.
Yeah.
Yeah, South Dakota. And it was called the Alpine Inn. And it was founded by a German man from Stuttgart. And it was all German food. And I can't remember all the names, but the menu was just all in German. And we had to ask, what's this and what's that? And they had so many pork dishes because you all know I can only eat pork. I'm sensitive to everything else. They had so many pork dishes. They had pork chops and pork schnitzel and pork this and pork that. It was great for me. And they had a platter, and their platter had red cabbage and sauerkraut and then some sort of German noodle. I think it started with a K. And but you could ask for it to be gluten free, and they would substitute German potato salad, the hot potato salad, instead. So I got the gluten free of the pork chop and the red cabbage and the sauerkraut, and of course, the potato salad. But I took a taste of it so I could say what it tasted like. But the rest I pawned off on. Oh, and I gave Scott a taste, but the rest I pawned off on my niece. Because again, I don't want 54 carbs just from eating potatoes. But boy, the red cabbage was delicious. I don't think I've ever had red cabbage cooked that way. And I do like sauerkraut, and I've never had it with a pork chop, but it was quite tasty. And I think Scott went with a chicken salad that day too, right, honey?
Yeah, I think so. As I remember it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, again, a grilled chicken salad. And so I think we did really well. And on our vacation, we did a lot of walking here and there and walking. And I was telling everyone before we started that I could not have done all that walking and going up and down stairs and everything if I hadn't lost the weight I've lost on keto and really started walking here at home on my own and everything. I couldn't have done that trip a year ago or a year and a half ago. Couldn't have done it at all. And then what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh yeah, I ended up losing 7 pounds on this trip. On vacation, I'm losing weight. It's crazy. And now the thing is, we came home, we had a animal sitter with our 3 cats and our dog to take care of them while we were gone. I lost 7 pounds, but our animal sitter fed our dog way too much and she gained 4. She gained 4 pounds while we were gone. And she's just a little dog. I came
Yeah,
in the
she started at
house.
11 pounds and she gained 4 pounds. So that's,
Yeah, yeah. It's just crazy. I came in the house, I saw her for the first time, and I'm like, holy crud, what happened to you? I mean, she was just like this barrel on 4 legs. And but I'm working it off her. We're walking, and I'm sure she's lost a pound or 2 already. What they did was they overfed her and they gave her too many treats. I told them only 1 treat a day, but they gave her an entire bag of the pepperonis, for dogs. and an entire bag of little bacon chunk things. And it's like, anyway, at least, she was happy. She got walked every day.
Yeah,
I
she's
mean,
fat
she
and
got
happy.
taken out. Yeah, she's fat and happy, but
Yeah,
she's
she enjoyed
happy.
her vacation too. Yeah.
Yeah, she did. Yeah. So anyway, so that's how our trip went and everything. And the only other thing I wanted to tell you was, have you guys heard of Lifeline? Lifeline tests that you can do on your own. They come through Rolla, our little town, once a year. And it's an independent company. You don't need a doctor's order to do this testing and everything. But they test for atrial fib, they test for PAD, peripheral artery disease, they test for carotid artery occlusion. They'll do blood tests for you, your cholesterol and your thyroid and your vitamin D and your magnesium and all sorts of things. And you pay for it a la carte, whatever you choose to do. Well, after listening to the couple of you that have done the CAC testing, I'm like, um, I think I'd feel better if I tested my carotid. I tested them like 3 years ago and everything was fine. I didn't have PAD, peripheral artery disease. That's great. And my carotids were clear. I didn't have atrial fib or any of that. And I'm like, well, I think I want to do it. And when I thought of it, they happened to be coming the next week, which was the week before we went on vacation. So I went and did the testing and everything. And, it's worth it. It was $200 or 278 or $64, something like that. But I got all the blood work done and the carotid arteries and the peripheral artery disease and everything, because I mean, I know that the CAC is what a lot of cardiac doctors look at because that's the cardiac things, but you can tell stuff about your artery health by knowing whether you have signs of PAD or your carotid arteries are, clogged and stuff. And I don't have any clogging and stuff. And so, that's an option if people are interested in doing this. From what I understand, they go all over the place. I think they're based out of Chicago and they have like a home base in the Chicago Metroplex area, but then they have teams that just travel all around and do these one-day workshops in various places. And so anyway, that was good. And there's something else I'm researching, but I don't want to tell you guys about it until I finish. So anyway, that's all my blah, blah, blah. So how has everybody been while we were gone? And did you miss us? And what's going on with everybody? Go ahead, Patricia.
Well, good to see you. I'm glad you had a good trip. One time we went through South Dakota. What's the name of that weird place where the mounds are sticking up out of the ground? What's the name of that? It's not Black Hills, it's something else. Anyway, and the one thing I remember about South Dakota, and I don't want to take up everyone's time, but we passed all these bison, and we from North Carolina, we don't see bison. My husband said, Patricia, here's your chance. Why don't you get a bison steak for lunch? So that was a big mistake.
Oh,
big mistake.
Oh, wasn't good.
Because I don't have the enzymes in my stomach to deal with bison.
Oh.
And I was up all night long with,
no.
I don't know what it was, gallbladder or what. I just could not process. It felt like I had a rock in my stomach all night long.
You eat beef?
I eat steak all the time. but I never had bison before, and I never will again.
Well, that's
Yeah.
interesting because they're
They're very
close.
close.
Yeah, yeah.
I know, but North Carolina, well, actually, I'm a New York girl, but anyway, to report, I was away for 1 week myself,
Oh,
babysitting my grandchild, but then I got back on my program and I've done it this week, another 36-hour, went without trouble. And I've sort of been reporting to people. I think it's sort of like a coffee detox, because all I do is I drink cold brew coffee for 36 hours with
mhm,
salt in it.
mhm.
And then in the morning, Tuesday morning, which is the end of my fast, I have a little bit of broth, and then I have to run to the bathroom. And about 40 minutes later, I'm totally cleaned out, and I feel like it's like coffee detox. And because it's cold brew, it has less acid than most coffee. So I think it's a healthy thing. And by the way, I did weigh myself after, I haven't tried for 3 weeks to weigh myself. I've lost 7 pounds too. So that was good.
Very good.
Also, I did the mammogram. Those people, they harass you to death until you get that done. And it came out clear. I'm fine. So now
Good.
I'm back to my regular schedule and doing my water walk, and everything's good. I guess what I have to say, taking care of the grandchild for a few days, it threw my rhythm off totally. I'm retired. I get up early, but I have my own little schedule, and I don't, when I have a whole bunch of things that I have to do, it ruins my day. I'm just a grumpy old lady at this point. And I enjoy everyone being here. I enjoy talking to you. Thanks for everyone coming. But I did want to say one more thing in case you guys didn't catch it. Evidently, this cruise where Dr. Boz was speaking, they did not have keto food on the cruise.
What?
Regular cruise food.
What?
And so you had to be very careful about what you ate, because you were hearing all this keto stuff all day long. And then they had their regular menu. And a couple of the ladies that I know went there, one of them got COVID.
Oh,
And I heard on Dr. Boz that she's claiming that she's gotten Montezuma's revenge from it.
ew.
So I tell you, this is off topic, but I will say it. I've gone on a couple of cruises myself, and I will never go on a cruise again. You know why?
Hmm.
Because I hate gambling. And as
Oh.
soon as you're 3 miles offshore, the gambling rooms open up and nobody's sitting out in the sun. They're all down there gambling. It's ridiculous. I don't understand it. Gambling has gotten way out of control.
A lot of things have
It's
gotten
just
way
a
out of
personal
control.
thing, But anyway, so I don't really care for cruises anymore. That's my story.
Okay. I've never been on a cruise. I'd kind of like to go on one. I've been on a ship. When I was living in Spain, we went on a trip through the southern part of Spain, and then we crossed the Straits of Gibraltar on a ship, and it was a stormy day, so it was pretty rough, and I did not get seasick. So kind of proud of that. I wouldn't mind going on a boat again, but I don't know, crammed into a cabin like that and so much food tempting me to eat it, I don't know. See, that was the trick on this vacation. We were in a cabin together with our friends, and we went to the grocery store and picked up our food and we cooked it. If we had to eat out every meal, I wouldn't have lost 7 pounds. And I would have lost a lot of money, but because it's expensive to eat out. But being able to control my food. And the other good thing is our friends are gluten-free. Well, the wife is, so everybody else typically is too. And she has to avoid dairy and I need to avoid dairy. So that made it better, because so many times when you're in a group of people who are not keto or who are not gluten-free or not dairy-free, you really feel the pressure to eat like they are or to have some of what they are having. I did find something at Walmart in South Dakota that I've never found here in North Dakota. It's called a petit pot. It's a French pudding, and it's just a little, I think 6-ounce or 7-ounce little glass jar. And it comes in all sorts of flavors like lemon or vanilla or dark chocolate, milk chocolate and stuff. And all it is milk and chocolate and an egg yolk. So it's good on protein. It's not horribly sweet. It's sweet enough, and it's cream. It's not regular milk, it's cream. It's whole cream. And it's a French pudding. Now, the whole thing is like 180 calories. And I think it's 15 carbs. And but I didn't react to it. That's a win for me. Anytime I can have something that's chocolate that I don't react to. But I saw that they have lemon and vanilla and all sorts of even caramel flavor, and I'd like to try it, but maybe I shouldn't. But anyway, so I see we have a new person here. Yay, Janet, Massachusetts. Can you introduce yourself to us and tell us how long you've been on keto and how you found Dr.
Hi.
Boz, where you
Yes,
live?
yes. Yes, I'm from Massachusetts.
Oh, well, there we
Right
go.
right outside of Boston.
Okay.
I started intermittent fasting a year ago. I
Okay.
got on YouTube. I found Dr. Boz because I have, as we probably all do, a lot of health issues. And I took the course in October.
Okay.
And I went off and running, did really well. I did January, February, March, April. End of March, I decided, ooh, Atkins looks really good. Let's try that. I did, and my asthma came back. My ankles started swelling. My wrist started swelling. I got irritable, and I couldn't sleep. And I was like, oh, no, 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 no. So May 13th, I said, no, I'm going back to Dr. Boz's way. I'm going back. And so now I'm on stage, I'm between 2 and 3.
Okay.
I'm down 6 carbs a day. I've missed a meal, but I'm still in week 2. So I'm staying the course. I'm not deviating. Because I skipped a meal, I'm not jumping to 3. No, we're not.
No.
So we're just gonna stay the course. I got my box, my jar of ketones in a jar.
Okay.
And you'll probably see it on Facebook. I was like, okay, what do I do now? Okay, I got them now. What do I do with them now?
Yeah.
So, but it's all, I'm not really, I stay on the course. I don't have many temptations. I make up my mind. I do it. I don't want it. Yeah, I don't have I don't struggle. I don't have to fight. I just make up my mind and I do it, and it happens. So right now, my main focus is healing, get the swelling down, get the blood pressure pills down, clear up my asthma so I can breathe. And so that's where my focus is, on the healing part right now. So that's where I'm at. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad you ladies are here. It makes you feel so warm and welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, well, very good. Um, yeah, it's, we've all done it. We've all gone off course for a little while and then we come back and it's okay. It's part of life. And good for you, not jumping the gun and trying to push into 3 before you're real ready and everything. And yep, we just have to make up our minds and stay the course and, keep going. And so we fall down, we pick ourselves up and we brush ourselves off and we keep going, you know. Um, and so Melody says she's off course. Well, Melody, let Janet be an inspiration to you. She got off course. She knew she was off course and she made up her mind. I'm going back. I'm going back. And so, you just got to make up your mind.
Yeah, part of that making up my mind is I got my workbook,
Mhm,
I got my book, I went back and took the course again,
mhm,
and the workbook, I didn't realize this time around, it's really step by step. I didn't see that the last time.
mhm,
I didn't fill in the questions and I didn't answer any, but this time I filled every page. I wrote something about what was requested of me. That helped me get back on course too. Not only what I put in my mouth, but my mind, as Dr. Boss said, you got to get that brain ready to do the
mhm.
steps. If your brain's not ready, no matter what you put in your mouth, because it's something you're going to sabotage yourself every time. So
Yeah.
I kind of listened and read a lot closer this time to get back.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, Janet, when you began last October by taking the class, the workbook wasn't even out yet because I don't think the workbook came out until January this year, did it? Well, I think that's when it came out. And I love the workbook. When I first started with Dr. Boz, I had read Any Way You Can, and I was very impressed with Any Way You Can. And I'm like, I'm doing this, and I just started doing it and everything. Um, but then her second book, The Keto Continuum, came out, and I read that, and I'm like, oh, this is great. So now when I recommend Dr. Boz to people, I typically tell them to read Keto Continuum first, and unless they have cancer. If they have cancer, then I suggest the Any Way You Can. Um, and I also tell them, don't get the book without the workbook. You got to get the workbook because the workbook really is quite helpful. If you work the workbook, you can do the program. And but it's great to have support from people, like in meetings like this, you know.
Yeah,
So
the meetings is the glue, because I didn't do meetings the first time around, but this is
mhm,
the glue that
mhm,
holds it all together. At least that's what I believe, and why I'm participating a lot more than what I did before.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. I I only attended a few, 2 or 3 meetings before I got to my 1 year. And just before my 1 year, I decided that, you know what, I need more support to keep me on track. And my husband very nicely said he'd come with me and we'd start this group ourselves to try and support ourselves, but other people. And it's helped. And I occasionally attend other groups as well, just because, hey, I'm human. I'm not Dr. Boz, you know. I'm not Dr. Boz. I don't know everything, and I need support too. Patricia?
But regarding your BHB, I go to different groups too, and there are some very creative things to do with BHB. Did you know you could mix some of that powder with some peanut butter?
Really?
No bread, no crackers, and it almost tastes like a PB&J sandwich.
Really?
So you gotta have, I don't know. Also, Dr. Boz says sometimes you need to use the BHB to sort of kickstart your ketones. And, she says it's not really been proven yet. She's seen some early indications, but if you can sort of remind your body what ketones are, it sort of triggers your body to create more. And I was listening to one woman yesterday. She said, it's no good if your glucose comes down into the 80s and your ketones are below 0.5, it's not good. That's why Dr. Boz has that ratio, dividing the ketones into the glucose. And she said, if your ketones are not showing up, she said, you're doing something wrong. And you shouldn't, pat yourself on the back just because your glucose is down. You got to have both pieces together. And that's one of my problems. I mean, I just lost 7 pounds. And I measured this morning, I was glucose of 92 early morning, but I only had 0.2 ketones. So I'm still in trouble. I'm still, because, my why is because of the Alzheimer's risk in my family. And by the way, all of my family is from Boston.
Ah,
Yeah. Just Jamaica Plain, if you know where that is. But anyway, so I really recommend that you use your BHB to sort of kickstart your ketones, even if you don't think you're starving to death and you need something to cover the gap. Try to use the BHB, at least during the first few weeks to see if you can't kickstart your ketones.
yeah. So Janet, I'm assuming you've got the ketones in a can that you mix in water and you drink. Yeah. See, I can't use those because it has stevia in it. And I don't know, does it have xylitol and erythritol? Does anyone know? Yeah. I don't do well with xylitol. I get this heat flash with the xylitol, and so I can't do xylitol. So the only ones I can do are the capsules, and the capsules only have the BHB in them. They don't have any xylitol, no erythritol, nothing. And you can't put them with peanut butter and it tastes like a PB&J. You just have to take the capsules. Melody's asking where to get these. I got these off of Dr. Boz's website, but I believe she now has an Amazon shop. Yeah, she now has an Amazon shop. So you can get them at Amazon. And they say to take 4 to 6 at a time. I can't do that. It makes my heart race. So I usually only take 1 to 2 at a time. I don't do it very often, but I know when my ketones are low, at 0.2 or 0.4, I'm like, okay, I got to help out. And so I'll take a couple, and then a couple hours later, I'll take a couple more. I spread the 6 out over a number of hours so that I don't get the heart racing, but that I get some ketones in me. And what I found with using these for myself is I'm a lot less likely to cheat with naughty foods like chocolate or something when I'm using these. They seem to keep me less picky and wanting a little something, something, And so that's the only thing I can say about the BHB from Dr. Boz, because I've never even tried the powders because of the additives that are in there. Melody was asking if there was any BHB without the erythritol and the xylitol. And the only thing I know, Melody, is the capsules. So, let's see. Now, Tammy says she's going on a cruise in August. Where are you going on a cruise to?
Well, my mom kind of guilted me into it. She says, I'm going to be 80 years old and I really want to go on this cruise before, I can't go on cruises anymore. And will you go with me? Well, so I asked my husband and I said, well, I don't know that she's inviting you because how do we do that? I said, I think it's just me because my husband's like, oh, yeah, we can go. And I'm like, well, I'm not really sure it's we. I think it was me. But then my mom said, oh, no, he can go too. So we're all going to share a room. And
Okay.
then my two more sisters are going, and my mom's two friends and her husband. Now there's 9 of us going. And we are flying into Boston and going north to Canada, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and Maine.
Oh,
And I don't know where all my other stops are. But
okay.
then I'm going to spend 1 night in Boston at the beginning and 2 nights in Boston before we leave.
Wow. Boston, the new destination place.
Have a lobster roll for me.
Oh, lobster roll.
Oh, yes,
No.
you gotta have one. Absolutely.
Well, we stopped at 2 stops in Maine. We were stopping at Bar Harbor and Portland. I've been to Portland once before, briefly. I flew into Portland and out when I went to a quilting week there. And I had a friend pick me up, but I don't think we did anything in Portland.
Mm. So a lobster roll, does that have bread with it?
Yeah, but you can leave the bread off.
Oh, yeah.
It's
leave the bread off.
basically a lobster with a little mayonnaise in it.
It's a sandwich kind of thing?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I've never
but you can
had
leave the
lobster.
bread off. You can just get a lobster salad on lettuce. But
Yeah.
I'll tell you, fresh out of the water right there in Bar Harbor, that you can't beat it. You cannot
Oh.
beat that.
Bar Harbor, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we did some excursions in some of the cities, and then my mom wants to, when she's in Boston for those 2 nights, I know she wants to go up to wherever the Mayflower stuff is at, because we're descendants from the Mayflower. And
Oh,
there's a
That's on the Cape. That's on the Cape. That's about an hour away, isn't it, Janet?
From Boston. There's a Mayflower Society. If you can prove that you're descendants from the Mayflower people, then you're in that. And so, I mean, I could be, because my uncle got accepted, and all I have to do is prove that I'm related to my uncle. And I could be in it too, but I'm not going to. I mean, that's not a cruel, but my mom wants to go up to wherever that is, but I don't want to. So I got 2 more sisters that are going to go that said they'd go with my mom. They're into more of that stuff. Well, one sister is. So anyway, I do think it will be fun. I am kind of, I don't plan on eating myself to death with bad things, because, all you do is you come home and you hate yourself because you have to lose whatever you did. But, and I know my sisters are drinkers, so I'm not a drinker, so I don't really have to have fruity drinks or, stuff all the time. Although I do have an unlimited drink package. It came with my cruise, so it's not that I bought it separately. And so I don't plan on doing really bad, but my plans can go haywire when you get there and you got food in front of you. So I know that too. So, but we'll see. It will be what it is. And I might have to come home and work.
I really don't think it'd be great to be drunk on the ocean, because boy, wouldn't you get sick? I mean, so many people get seasick already, and lots of people get sick from the alcohol. Boy, I don't think a cruise and being drunk would be a good idea.
I'm not a drinker.
I know you aren't.
I'm not, but and I don't mind the gambling, because I'll go in there and gamble, but I'm not like I'm not waiting for the moment that you can gamble. And I might do it every day, but if you go to the movie and you spend $20, I just go gambling and spend $20. It's just your entertainment. If you go to a concert for $75 and you go gambling, and it's just your entertainment for the night. That's why I look at it. I don't look at it like I'm going to win, because I'm not. This is what you're going to donate, and you're going to do it whether you go to a concert, a show, to the movies, whatever you do, you pay for. So this is just what you do and you pay for it.
I went to Vegas once and walked through the casino. I didn't want to gamble because I think I'm an addictive personality. And I think if I started on one of those slot machines, I just would not be able to make myself stop. And so it's just better if I don't do it. But I didn't mind watching other people do it, except for there were a couple of people that, I mean, they looked like they hadn't slept for a couple of days, and they were smoking like crazy because they still let you smoke in the casinos there in well, they have certain casinos you can smoke in and other ones you can't in Las Vegas. And I just thought, wow, they look pretty sad. Looks like they've been here forever. And I'm like, it's good I don't do this. And then the noise got to me and all the lights and stuff got to me. And I'm like, oh, I'm not interested in this. So,
Well,
but
I went to Vegas and I come home with money. I mean, not great amount of money, but I come home with an extra $150. So I don't usually lose a lot of money and I just play slot machines. I'm not gambling. I'm not doing the harder stuff, cards
yeah.
or anything. That's a slot machine, 25 cents.
Yeah, no, I just know myself. I think it would be fun. And like you said, Tammy, you can spend 20 bucks or 70 bucks going to a show or a movie or something. But I just know myself. I don't think I could stop. I really don't. And that's a flaw, I guess, in my personality. But hey, do they have movies on ships? I've never been
This
on a
is my first
cruise.
cruise, but I believe they
Oh,
do.
okay. Have you been on a boat before? You been sailing or anything?
Like a big boat like this.
Yeah, a big boat.
Probably not anything really like that. I mean, I've been on boats and on a lake and stuff like that, but nothing big enough.
Okay.
Well, I've been on, no, I have not. I would have to say no. I don't think I'll be seasick though.
Okay.
I'm not a sick type person. I mean,
Okay.
like, I don't think I'd be like that. Bye, Janet. Oh, she left already.
Oh, bye, Janet. So Dee, you're still here, Dee. How have you been? I'm glad to see you. And what's up with you?
Mute. Am I unmuted?
Yeah, you're unmuted.
Okay.
We can hear you.
I don't know why the camera went back off. Sorry, I dropped my laptop and caught it and I turned off my camera somehow.
It's okay.
I've been trying to get back on track, and I finally, I think yesterday, rewrited my ship and I'm back on track. Decided just to go back to the square one basics of just doing eggs, bacon, butter, beef, sausage, avocado, and forget about everything else, because if I start going off track, I slip right on down the slippery trail into trouble. It's been a pretty hard week for me. I have chronic migraines, and they did a Botox. They do it every 8 weeks, but they put it in a little bit different place in my neck, and it caused neck weakness, which means that other muscles in my neck have gone into hyperdrive to compensate, and it's caused a lot of pain, burning muscles. It's been pretty awful. So I've learned to reposition and take the stress off of my neck by laying down. And so I've spent a lot of time prone, which makes gardening impossible. Walking the dogs, I can't even walk the dogs. Muscles just turn into fire. But I've never hoped for Botox to wear off this quickly in my life. So
how long does that take?
It takes 6 to 8 weeks for it to wear off. Yeah. So it's a long one. One of the reasons why, that's actually what I wanted to ask you guys. I need help with the why. I like doing the Dr. Boz thing. I can't get past writing down the why. I'm like, is that a good enough why? Is it really my why? I really don't know. I mean, I definitely do it for health reasons. Patricia, I can relate to the Alzheimer's. My dad died of it. My maternal grandmother died of it. I've had numerous head injuries. I know that I've had memory problems for a long time. I'm only 57 and I've never been able to remember. I mean, I had a fever when I was little, between first and second grade, where it was the measles, red measles, and I came really close to dying, and I hallucinated for 3 days from the migraine from that. So I know I cooked my head. So I know this is a huge reason why I want to do it, but I really need help, like figuring out how to write the why. Everything I do just seems, I don't know, not good enough, not important enough. Like, is that really enough to keep me from eating chocolate cake? Is that, I don't know. So I'm totally open to everybody's input. I welcome it. Any advice you have, please spew it at me.
Spew it.
Spew it.
On the spur of the moment, I don't have any real wisdom for you, except that I know that whenever I get in a situation where I'm feeling unhappy with the way I've behaved or I've reacted to something, that's when I say, okay, where's my why? What am I doing this for again? And then I say, okay, my why is because I've got family members. I have 6 siblings, and I'm afraid that the statistics say that one or the other of us is going to get it. And, I'm going to have to play a role there, even though all of my siblings are more than 500 miles away from me. And then I've had long-term care insurance for 25 years already, because I knew that Alzheimer's was in my future. And so I did not want to be a burden on my children or my husband if, it happens to me. So, thank God I haven't needed it. But for me to have that assurity that I would not be a burden on my family, that was worth whatever I told my husband, whatever it costs, it's worth it to me. So that's my why. And I think you've got a really good why there with your, your childhood measles problem, and you're pretty sure that you do already have some weaknesses. And, it's not, I think I've been reading articles. It's not hopeless. And so I think that you're on the right track with Dr. Boz's program. And it's not a hopeless situation. So grab onto it and say, okay, I'm going to use this as my life raft, my life preserver. And maybe you have something else. Maybe you have a family member that you care about. You don't, you want to be around to help them and something. People have different reasons why for their whys. It's not always Alzheimer's. Some people, they just can't stand to think of themselves as getting old, and they always want to be young. And so they feel like this is their way out of that problem. So that's, you really do need a why, though. I mean, Elizabeth is a perfect example of why you need to always have a why to fall back on, because things get rough. I mean, they're rough now for you with your migraine and your Botox issue. But
so for me, when doing my why, my original why was I wanted to lose weight and I wanted to get healthier. But then I was listening to some videos from Dr. Boz, and I reread the books, and she said, it's all fine and good to say, in general, I want to lose weight and I want to get healthier. But she says the more specific you can get with, I want to lose 150 pounds and I want to correct my liver enzymes, my kidney status, my migraines, make a list of each of the health challenges you've got going on. That's a stronger why. And she says, and then there are other whys. There are emotional whys. And for me, I have I have three big emotional whys. The first one is my husband. I want to spend more time with him and I want it to be good time. I don't want him to have to be pushing me around in a wheelchair and feeding me and dressing me and showering me. I want it to be good time. And then my next why is my two younger daughters. I want to watch them grow and find their place in the world. My older daughter is married, already has her children, the two younger ones, while our second daughter won't marry because of her disability and everything, but I still want to be there for them. And then the third is my grandsons. I have two grandsons, they're soon to be turning 9 and 11, and I want to watch them grow up. I want to be there for their high school graduations and their weddings. I want to see my great grandchildren, and I can't do that if I continue to weigh 340 pounds like I used to. And I can't do that when my enzymes are leading towards me needing a liver transplant and everything. I can't do those things. And then the other why is I just want to be more active, like this trip we just took. I mean, I couldn't have taken this trip a year and a half ago before I started on Dr. Boz. So I think Dee, rather than having one why, I think maybe you need a list of whys and, start with the biggest one and try and get specific with it, as specific as you can. And but I'm going to say to everybody, when you have health challenges like Dee has, and you have situational challenges like I have two disabled daughters that live with me that cause a lot of stress in my life and cause me to be up some nights late and stuff. Just looking at your why sometimes doesn't do it for you, because we're human and the emotions get in. And when you're down, like Dee, when you're down with your third migraine of the week, you start thinking, screw it. It's like, this isn't working. I am miserable. Why am I doing this? It's stupid. And here she's had this setback. This Botox injection, which was meant to help, is now causing more trouble. And it's discouraging. And being able to even comfortably get up and fix her eggs and her bacon and her sausage and stuff are now a challenge. And I sympathize with you, Dee. It's very difficult when we are ill and in pain and everything. But I just encourage you to be as specific as you can with your whys. Have as many whys as you need. Print them up and paste them around the house if you have to. Put them on cards and flip through them while you lay in bed and say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And, one tip I'll give you that makes it easier for me, bacon. I like to cook all my bacon in the oven anymore because then I don't have to watch a pan and I don't have to be flipping it over and it's not as messy. And so like earlier today, I made 4 what they call rafts of bacon, which is my servings of bacon. I eat 6 strips of bacon at a time. That's an entire meal for me. And I made 4 rafts of bacon, and I put them in the fridge so that I can just warm them up later rather than having to sit there. And it just went very fast because I take a cookie sheet and I cover it with foil, and I put an entire package of bacon on the foil, and I put it in the oven for 20 minutes. I take it out. I let it drain off, and then I put it in a container, 6 strips at a time. And then I did another one, and within 40 minutes, I've got 4 servings of bacon. So I don't have to be standing there by the stove, flipping my bacon and everything. And then eggs. Also today, I boiled 30 eggs today. And if you put a little salt in the water and a little bit of oil, whatever kind of oil you want to use, the shells come off really well once they're cold. They just slip off if you put oil and salt in the water. I boil all of these up at once, and I just have them in the fridge. These 30 eggs can be in the fridge for 2 weeks. I can take 2 or 3 or 4 of them with me when I go to my office to have as a lunch. I can smush them up into egg salad, or I can just cut them in half and scoop them out with salt and eat them. I can mush them up and put mustard or mayonnaise or whatever I want with them, and eat them on, some sort of keto friendly chip or something if I want to do that. But I like to batch cook. It saves me time in the kitchen, and it also means that I have an immediate food that is keto safe and me friendly, because I have so many allergies, that I can just grab. I can go, I'm hungry, I need food, and I can just reach in the fridge and I can grab it. And it saves me standing at the stove, which would be very difficult for you now. And everything. The one thing I can't do is I cannot bake pork chops in a batch and eat them later. There's just something about the flavor changes, and I cannot do pork steak in a batch and eat it later because the texture changes. I can't do it. I just can't. Wish I could, but I can't. But the bacon and the eggs I can do in batches to save myself time, and also to make sure I have immediate food when I'm hungry, because that's when I'm in danger of reaching for the chocolate cake, is when I am hungry and there's nothing easily accessible. I want a chocolate bar or something. So my only ideas, don't know if it will help. Anybody else with ideas?
Patricia and Elizabeth, those are both great feedback. Tammy, Scott, Melody, Wilma, love to hear what your guys' why is, and any advice y'all have to throw in the mix too.
I don't really, because I don't have any medical problems. I don't have metabolic problems. I just don't have those kind of things. So I just can't really help you. I hope you figure it out and can do something. But I just don't have a lot of those problems.
Thanks. It's
I'll just
as
send good
terrible.
vibes your way is all I can do.
But
And I
at the
will.
same time, one of the best things, Dee, is to keep coming to these kind of meetings, because just listening to other people about how they deal with their issues, and shows you a little bit about what you can do. And we don't all have the same kind of lives and the same situations or medical issues, but just hearing how other people deal with their issues, I think, is helpful. And I know there's some, I don't know if evenings is better for you, but there's some really great morning groups too, if mornings are available to you. But and then there's a Saturday one keto mindset, which is very, very good. And the keto mindset one on Saturday mornings is recorded. So even if you miss it, you can watch it afterwards. And sometimes I'll watch it like 3 days later, and it's really very good. So that's what I think.
Yeah, that's one reason I record these, so that if the people that regularly come can't come, or someone who this isn't a convenient time for them, or someone 3 years from now watches it and gets some sort of support or some sort of good advice from anything we say, it's worth it, you know? So Melody, in the chat, are you saying that your why is you're fat and you want to lose weight? Is that what you're saying? So you don't have any health issues you'd like to try and solve, or at least get better with keto? And Scott, are you around? He turned off the video, so, oh, there he is. Can you speak
Yeah,
right now?
I just got back. Yeah, I can speak right now. Yeah.
So, Scott, you're kind of different from the rest of us. You don't really have any health issues, and you're not overweight at all, in the least. What are your whys? Why are you willing to do this?
Yes, why am I willing to do this? Well, you know, I feel less stress actually when I'm on keto, you know, but the other thing is, though, you know, I see, well, let's see. Also, though, yeah, you know, I'd like to decrease my risk of cancer as well, and also my risk of, you know, dementia / Alzheimer's also, you know. The other thing is, though, you know, I see there are a lot of people, you know, a lot of members of my family and people that I know that are struggling with all sorts of issues that are caused by, you know, the crazy high carb diet that we have in our society. And so, you know, to be able to tell them that, you know, hey, there's this diet, you know, you don't have to have kidney disease or liver disease or you know, high blood pressure, diabetes, things like that. And you know, and I'm doing this diet as well. And the other thing is, I really think that our society has gone way off the rails, and our society is moving in the wrong direction in many different ways. You know, but one way that we're definitely going off the rails is with our health. And you know, if you look at pictures of people from, you know, just 20 years ago, you can see that people were a lot thinner than they are now. And look at pictures from 30 or 40 years ago, and it's really scary to see what happens. You know, I mean, look at just a picture of, you know, like people at a county fair, or people at a, you know, some public gathering, and you can see, I mean, back in the 70s and 80s, there were very few people that were overweight compared to now. I mean, now it's like I don't know what, but you know, and so, you know, our society is really gone way off on the wrong track in terms of health. And the thing is, I teach anatomy physiology courses, you know, and I'm going to be teaching an anatomy physiology course this summer, hopefully. And so, and I'm going to tell them about, you know, the low carb diet, and about the fact that back in the 50s and 60s, we got off the wrong path, and this food pyramid, or you know, whatever they call it now, I don't know, the pyramid or servings or whatever they call it now, is way out of whack, and it's the wrong thing. It's absolutely wrong. and you watch the video, gosh, what is the video? It's on YouTube. It's, but anyway, in that video, they talk about, they talk to actual dietitians, and they talk to these dietitians that they said that, they spent their career giving people this advice and talking to them about, eating low fat and cutting fat out of their diet. But, you should have, 10 to 11 servings of carbohydrates per day, though, and how, very few of their clients ever actually improved. Pretty much, 95% of them just got worse, no matter how strictly they followed the diet. But then they switched to telling their clients about low carb diet and advising their clients to do a low carb diet, and boom, like magic, they lose weight, they get their diabetes goes away, hypertension, all sorts of things, asthma, and so they see that, they show, I mean, they demonstrate there that there's definitely something to it. And so, that's why I do it, because I really think that we need to get the word out there that we're going in the wrong direction, and that, I mean, there are people, you see people in the news every day, talking about, oh, we've got an epidemic of obesity in this country, and they're right. Yes, we have an epidemic of obesity, heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, all of it. And it's, I don't know, 80-95% of that is because of carbohydrates. And so, anything I can do or say to get the word out and let people know that this, we have to change this, and we have it within our power to actually change it. We can change it ourselves, and we don't need, some drug that some big pharma company is pushing. We don't need that. It's just as simple as what you're eating, changing your diet. So that's basically in a nutshell.
Okay. Well, if anybody else has anything to say, Melody did answer more on the chat. If you don't follow the chat, she said a few more things on the chat. But if no one else has anything else to add to tonight's meeting, it's almost 1:15, and so I'm going to end. Patricia needs to go to bed. She's usually tired by 8 my time. It's 9 her time. And I've got a mama with 2 kids in the ER that wants to talk to me. So I better go. So I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting. Let me find the thing.
I'll just say I'm praying for everybody.
Thank you, Patricia. And we'll be thinking of you, Dee. We know you're struggling. You're on the struggle bus. Okay.